The House will come to order. The pledge today will be led by Gabrielle Sias, Representative Sias's daughter, and Bridget Ronning, Excel Academy, Arvada, Colorado.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Kohler, please call the roll. And let's come over here.
Representatives Arndt, Becker J, Becker K, Brown, Buck, Buckner, Carver, Conti, Representative Conti,
Representative Conti excused.
Quorum. Court. Representative Conti is present. Court. In the back. Court present. Danielson. Del Grosso. Dorr. Duran. Esgar. Everett. Fields. Foote. Garnett. Janal. Hamner. Humphrey. Joshi. Kagan. Yep. Klingenschmidt. Kraft-Tharp. Landgraf. Lawrence. Representative Lawrence. Excused. Lebsock. Lee. Leonard. Lontine. Lundeen. McCann. Melton. Mitch Bush. Representative Mitch Bush. Mitch Bush. Excused. Moreno. Navarro. Neville. Nordberg. Pabon. Bone excused. Pedersen. Primavera. Priola. Representative Priola. Rankin. Representative Rankin. Ransom. There you are. Representative Mitch Bush is present. Rosenthal. Present. Rupe. Good morning. Ryden. Sane. Representative Sane. Sick. Madam Speaker. Yep. Sane excused. Salazar. Sias. Singer. Thurlow. Tyler. Van Winkle. Vigil. Willett. Williams. Wilson. Windholes. Winter. Representative Winter. Wist. Young.
And Madam Speaker.
With 62 present, 3 excused, a quorum is present. Representative Rupe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move the reading of Friday, March 18th Journal be dispensed with and that it be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
You have heard the motion that the journal be adopted as corrected by the Chief Clerk. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. We are now going to move into announcements and introductions, so please keep the side conversations outside and take your seats so that you can hear announcements and introductions. Announcements and introductions. May we have your attention for announcements and introductions? Representative Primavera.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. For those members on the Colorado Health Insurance Exchange Oversight Committee, the committee will meet on Wednesday, March 23rd at 7:15 in the morning in House Committee Room 112.
Representative Navarro.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just a reminder for those that signed up to donate blood today, it is outside. There are still rooms available. I just wanted to remind you that if you were signed up, please remember to get out there. Thank you very much.
Representative Brown.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and just want to invite everyone to the Bible study tomorrow morning at 7:15. Come on down, get a sandwich, and we will be fed from the Word of God. Thank you.
Representative Hamner.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We need the Capitol Choir. If the Capitol Choir could please come down to the well. We have a birthday on the floor this morning. Another fabulous spring march birthday. Today's birthday is Representative Melton, right? So I need the Capitol Choir here. Now we need big voices because all of you know Representative Melton has this big voice. And so we'll need to serenade him in a big voice. So members, please join us in a resounding happy birthday to Representative Melton. Are we ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Representative Melton. Happy birthday to you.
Have a terrible voice.
Well, you were just like...
The Speaker has a couple of announcements. For State Affairs today only, Representative Winter will replace Representative Lontine. Are there further announcements and introductions? Seeing none, the next order of business is second reading. Representative Mitch Bush. I beg your pardon. Representative Kraft Tharp.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move now resolve the job of the committee of the whole for consideration as a second reading.
You heard the motion. With no objection, Representative Kraft Tharp will take the chair.
Members, that was not a good start. The committee will come to order to start this 11th week of our legislative session. With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there is a request for reading a bill at length. Committee amendments will not be read unless requested, as they are printed and in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and not read unless requested. Bills will be laid over upon motion of the majority leader, and the court rule is relaxed. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1228.
House Bill 1228 by Representatives Arndt and Becker J. Also Senators Donovan and Sonnenberg concerning an alternative transfer mechanism for water rights that protects the agricultural use for which water right was originally decreed while permitting renewable one-year transfers of the portion of the water subject to water right.
Exceptional job, Mr. Kohler. Representative Arndt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's a pleasure to bring House Bill 1228 before you today. Good ideas in the water world sometimes take years, and this is one good example.
I need a committee motion for the committee report and for the bill.
All right, I moved.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You say it.
Representative Becker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1228 in the the Agricultural Committee report.
And to the committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, the committee report is essentially the bill. We did a strike below in the bill for the flex water use. This bill creates or allows for a new water right called essentially a flex water right, and I know I'm not supposed to be saying that, but that's essentially what it is. A flex water right that allows 50% of the water to be used for a separate use and 50% of the water to be used inside of district. With that, Madam Chair, I'd ask for an aye vote on the committee report.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none. Members, the question before us is the committee report. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The committee report passes. To the bill, Representatives Becker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good bill. Vote yes.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1228? Representative Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm on this bill, but there's some problems with the bill.
Do you have anything else?
And so I'm going to have to get off of the bill. I know I can't do that now, but I just want you to know I'm going to have to. And I hate to go against a bill that both Representative Arndt and Representative Becker, J. Becker, are on. But my water district, the Southwest Water District, and the Colorado Water District, Colorado River District, are opposing this bill. There's some problems that it may cost agricultural producers to protect their water rights. It will cost them a lot of money, and therefore I'm not going to say any more, but I will be opposing this bill.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1228? Representative Coram.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Unlike Representative Brown, I don't have any problem with fighting with Jay Becker and J.J. Arndt here, but they're friends of mine. But, you know, sometimes we have family feuds. And I think this is a bill that certainly is not good for Western Colorado. Western Colorado has certainly come out in opposition to this. I think there's several things that we need to be concerned about. One, you know, the old question is how do you boil a frog? You put him in cold water and turn up the heat slowly. And, you know, I think we're changing things a little bit. You know, we had a situation of 3 years out of 10, you could lease your water right. But this is just turning up the heat, and the frog is in danger. And I think we really need to be concerned that we're changing this. I also think there's some issues with in-stream flow in this bill that certainly need addressed. So I'm going to ask for a no vote on this bill.
Thank you, Representative Coram. Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1228? Seeing none, the question before us, members, is the passage of House Bill 1228. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. House Bill 1228 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title for House Bill 1258.
House Bill 1258 by Representative Melton, also Senator Lundberg, concerning the posting by court clerks of process when a respondent is served by publication.
Thank you. Representative Melton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1258. There are no committee reports.
Thank you. To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, this bill improves efficiency within the judicial branch by updating our statutes to meet the 21st century and the technology that we have available to us under the current law. For domestic relation postings, they have to post these on a bulletin as it's specified in the law. This allows us to use additional technologies like websites and other electronic means for posting these notices. And with that, members, I would ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1258? Seeing none. Members, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1258. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. House Bill 1258 passes. Thank you. Mr. Kohler, please read the title for Senate Bill 051.
Senate Bill 51 by Senators Johnson and Lundberg, also Representative Melton, concerning increasing judicial discretion regarding the imposition of consecutive sentences for violent crimes.
Representative Melton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 51. There are no committee reports.
To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 51 is a bill that gives our courts more discretion when determining a sentence around certain offenses, and it gives them discretion in terms of whether or not the sentence should be consecutive or concurrent. And I'll give you an example. Let's say we have someone who goes into a bar and gets into a fight with 4 different gentlemen. Because that is considered one crime, the law specifies that that crime has to be sentenced consecutively. So you'll have 15 years for guy 1, 15 years for guy 2, 15 years for guy 3, 15 years for guy 4. Now, if that same gentleman were to go out and get into 4 different fights in 4 different bars, each of those crimes are considered separate incidences and therefore can actually be sentenced concurrently, even though technically I would say that that person is actually probably more violent in the second case than in the first case. And so because we have these types of situations, really the court should have more say as to how that sentence should go, seeing as that they hear the details and the facts of the case. With that, members, I would ask for, with that, members, I would ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 51? Representative Carver.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There were a number of us that struggled with this bill in committee and ultimately voted no. And one of the difficulties with this bill is if you have a number of victims that have had a crime committed against them, if you do go to concurrent sentences, the real effect is that the individual who committed those crimes against 4 or 5 different victims, in certain circumstances, they're not receiving additional punishment. Now, certainly in the testimony, this is kind of circumstance specific, but that's really the difference between consecutive and concurrent, is that in some circumstances what this bill would do, you might have 5 victims, but the defendant is only being punished. He's getting a sentence for crimes against each of the 4 or 5 victims, but if it's being served concurrently, it's not reflecting all the harm that's being done to multiple victims. So I would urge a no vote.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 51? Representative Willett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I stand to urge a no vote on this bill. Couple of key points. The DAs came out opposed to this, and frankly, it comes down at some level to, do we want to have more discretion in our DAs or more discretion in our judges? On that very simple issue, our DAs are our elected officials. So if I've got to make a call, and I'm a big supporter of judicial department, I would rather give the discretion to the DAs. Furthermore, we heard from the DAs that they would like to work on this issue as they have worked on other issues, such as mandatory minimums. And we have a process to do that, CCJJ, and we should allow that process to work where we can bring in all the stakeholders and address this in a global fashion. This bill only addresses 3 crimes, including escape, which really doesn't fit at all. I think some of the best comments I heard came from victims and DAs who say, wait a minute, on these 3 crimes now, from a family victim standpoint, I have to deal with the fact that one person got a totally different sentence than another person in a totally similar crime. Furthermore, victims of all the other crimes that this doesn't deal with are still under the mandatory consecutive scheme. So this just creates this hodgepodge of kind of injustices. If we're going to address this issue, let's address it in a comprehensive manner and do it right. Not a bad concept, wrong tool for the issue we're trying to deal with here. Vote no on this.
Thank you. Representative Salazar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And unfortunately, what wasn't said just a second ago, because we did hear this in committee, is that CCJJ also has looked at this since 2007 and has passed on it each and every single time. There are committee notes on it. There are a number of things that indicate that CCJJ will not address this issue. And that's why Representative Melton's bill is important, because it's actually addressing it. Besides that, CCJJ was created by the legislature. We are not beholden to it. If they are unwilling to act, then we can act as a body. That is our responsibility. We did not abdicate that to the CCJJ. So therefore, Representative Melton's bill is absolutely necessary. Is it fully comprehensive? It's not. But we don't do everything comprehensively in the legislature. That's why we have the Rule of 7 bill come up over and over and over again. Because if it was comprehensive, we would address every single one of it. So he's taking this as a piecemeal approach, and it's a smart approach, and it's an approach that we as a body have the ability to do. I ask for a yes vote.
Thank you. Representative Lundin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We did hear extensive testimony on this in the Judiciary Committee, and to the question of CCJJ and their ability to resolve this in this moment, we heard testimony that said they've been working through issues, and they're working through, obviously, as we all do, the simple issues first, migrating their way towards the more challenging issues as they are able to move that way. And so there is a conversation going on with regard to these issues in the process where it has a full and complete hearing in addition to what we can hear here. To the underlying efforts of what this bill is trying to get at, these questions around mandatory sentences and the questions of what is an appropriate sentence, there is a good conversation to be had there. It's an important conversation, and it's one that's being had at many levels, and I think we need to continue to carry on with. But this particular bill, whether you call it cherry picking or piecemeal, no matter what you call it, it's getting at things in a way that does not deal with the complexities and the intricacies of the sentencing rules that do exist. I urge you to oppose this bill for those reasons.
Representative Kagan.
Thank you, members. Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, in 1975, and it is relevant what happened in 1975 because this bill has to be taken in historical context. In 1975, we decided that judges were inappropriately exercising their discretion and they weren't sentencing people harshly enough. So we increased the minimum sentence that a judge could give in 1975 pretty drastically. By 1982, we weren't happy with the maximum sentences. So for felony 2, 3, 4, and 5, we doubled overnight the maximum sentence that a judge could give because we felt that there wasn't sufficient uniformity and we weren't cracking down harshly enough. Then over the years that followed, we started enhancing the sentences, which had already been doubled for the maximum, and we started saying, look, if it's an extraordinary risk of crime, then the judge has to sentence more harshly. If it's a crime of violence, the judge has to sentence more harshly. We're not happy with the way judges are behaving. If it's got extraordinary aggravating circumstances. We have to judge more harshly. In some cases, we said you have to be in the minimum of the presumptive range. In some cases, we simply said that the range has to be even higher, going up, for example, to 48 years for one count of a felony 2 by the time you finish, all because the judges were not cracking down hard enough. Then we started putting on mandatory minimum sentences. Why? Because the judges weren't cracking down hard enough. A mandatory minimum sentence for this, a mandatory minimum sentence for that. And that was part of the feeling that we weren't cracking down hard enough. And then we panicked because we started having massive jail populations of persons who were serving incredibly long sentences, 20, 30, 40 years on one count. Then at one point we said, wait a minute, we've cracked down on the sentences, we can't make them any longer. Oh, we did. We changed life sentences from being 20 parole years to life to 40-year-old parole years to life to no parole years to life. And then we said, okay, we're there. Life sentence means no parole. So we said, okay, now we've got people burgeoning in the jails. We have the mandatory minimums, we have the minimum sentences, we have the extraordinary risk enhancements, we have all the other enhancements, and we've got this massive jail population. So we started scaling back and trying to bring some judicial discretion back. This is an effort so that if you've got 2, 3, 4 counts possible, that the judge has the option, just the option to say, these counts will run concurrently. These counts will run concurrently. Give the judges that choice. We have gone too far. This is part of a historical trend that we have to reverse piece by piece because it was implemented piece by piece until we found ourselves in a completely untenable situation with completely unjust results. Let's applaud Representative Melton for bringing this small adjustment. Let's give the judges some discretion. They're the ones that know what these cases are like. They're the ones that are able to look at the individual circumstances of the crime and the offender. They're the ones who can best dispense justice. Let's let judges do their job. This is a small step in that direction. I strongly urge an aye vote.
Thank you. Members, it's getting a little loud in here. The people in the front row can't hear, so if you could tone it down just a little bit. Representative Lundin?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And thank you, Chairman Kagan, for that historical perspective. I think it is very valid. The points you make are very important, and they do set the context for this conversation. My response back would be, instead of taking a piecemeal, incremental, teeny tiny approach that may or may not have the consequences that we would like to have it, we should allow this conversation, this historical, societal conversation about a big pendulum swinging to an extreme end and swinging back. Let that conversation continue, and I think the best pathway for that to continue is by us giving voice to this conversation here, but not action in favor of this legislation, and encouraging the folks at CCJJ to continue the conversation they're having to address this in the historical with the broad sweep questions that it does seek to get at, but I would argue this bill does not appropriately or effectively get to.
Thank you. Representative Melton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And members, I'm glad we're having this discussion. But let me clarify a couple things that were mentioned by people who are opposing this bill. This does not get rid of consecutive sentences, even in these small example of cases. This gives the judge that discretion to determine whether or not the case is justifiably a consecutive sentence or a concurrent sentence. So I want to make sure that we're clear on that. This is not doing away with that practice. The conversation has been had. Representative Salazar brought this up. The conversation's been had since 2007, and CCJJ cannot come up with a solution. It has been now almost 10 years. They cannot come up with a solution. So we're taking a step and trying to bring us into the right direction on this. Now, I also want to give a little bit of history on this bill. This came from the Senate, and in the Senate, it was a broad bill. In the Senate, it did look at all of the second-degree assaults. It looked at a number of things and removed it for a number of things. And in the Senate, it was negotiated with the DAs to bring it down to these 3 specific crimes. So I found it interesting that in committee, the DAs suddenly had amnesia. They suddenly forgot about the conversation that was had. They suddenly forgot about the deal that was stroked. They forgot about why it was amended and how it was amended. That amendment didn't come from the sponsors of the bill. And the last little piece of history on this bill I want to remind you of is this passed out of the Senate 33-2. Broad bipartisan support. Because the bill sponsors and the DAs work together. It's not my fault that the DAs didn't get everything that they wanted, and so they come over and they forget about the conversations that are had. Members, this is the right bill because it brings us a step closer, it brings us a step forward in allowing the judges to have this discretion, to hear the facts of the case and determine, does it fit better with a consecutive sentence or with a concurrent sentence? Members, with that, I ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Representative Melton. Members, is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 51? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 51. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. No. Senate Bill 51 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read House Bill 1316.
House Bill 1316 by Representative Rosenthal, Senator Cook, concerning the procedures for changing venue for proceedings relating to a child placed in legal custody of a county Department of Social or Human Services.
Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1316, and there is no committee report.
To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, members, this is a very basic bill, just allowing counties, when they're placing children in human services, to really allow much more focus on making sure that we're doing what's in the best interest of the child, and to make sure that particularly that location where the court case is kept, that it is in the home county of where the child's parents are, and also that if during that whole process that the receiving county also has a say in the matter, that they're notified of any potential transfer. I ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1316? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1316. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. House Bill 1316 passes. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1164 until April 25th based on the request of the sponsor.
Thank you. Are there any objections? Seeing none, House Bill 1164 will be laid over until April 25th. Mr. Kohler, please read Senate Bill 68.
Senate Bill 68 by Senator Donovan, also Representatives Esgar and Willett, concerning wearing fluorescent pink garments to hunt big game.
Thank you. Representative Esgar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 68. There is no committee report.
To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Colleagues, this is a very simple bill that allows hunters in Colorado to wear fluorescent pink along with the orange. There's actually scientific data that backs this up, that pink is harder for deer to see but easier for humans to see. So it's just about hunter safety and giving people options.
Representative Willett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first thing I have to point out is our minority leader's shirt today, which happens to be pink. Thank you very much.
Easier to see.
I would also mention that some of my people on this side who have been having hesitations, they admit their favorite color is pink. Their favorite song from The Boss was Pink Cadillac. They like, was it Estee Lauder? No, who was it? The pink, Mary Kay. So on a serious note, when I first heard of this bill, I was on a bus with Senator Donovan, and I thought it was the silliest thing I'd ever heard. But when I looked hard at the bill, I could find nothing wrong with it and a lot of positives. It helps industry. It helps small business. They can come up with pink garments. If you note, there are now guns with pink handles, so pink is actually in fashion for our hunting and shooting sports. The single largest growing portion of hunting are women in a declining industry. This isn't just a women's bill. Men like to wear the pink because the deer and elk can't see it as much. And look what happens in the NFL in October every year. Pink, pink, pink. You can wear it as an anti-cancer statement. Good bill.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Senate Bill 68? Representative Landgraf.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Escar, I would like to know how many deer you surveyed and the demographics of those deers. I'd like to know if they were male or female and their age bracket. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 68? Representative Neville.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And members, I guess I'm curious, I'm still basking in the glory of a Broncos Super Bowl win, why we would allow a color that's not a Broncos color to be worn.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Representative Willett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's in my nature to rebut. Again, if you watch the NFL in October, you will see pink on Broncos.
Thank you. So any Representative Coram.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I guess if we're going to go to football, I guess the Buccaneers will be in pink from now on. But members, this is a do-nothing bill as far as I'm concerned. I appreciate, pink is my favorite color. I will admit that, but I don't want to be wearing a lot of pink when there's people out there with guns.
Thank you. So any further discussion on Senate Bill 68? Seeing none. Member, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 68. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. Senate Bill 68 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read House Bill 1171.
House Bill 1171, Representatives Pedersen and Fields, also Senator Woods, concerning continuation of the Colorado Special Education Fiscal Advisory Committee.
Thank you. Representative Fields.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1171 and the House Education Committee report.
To the committee report.
The committee report just makes a repeal. Instead of it being repealed on July 1st, 2016, it would be repealed on September the 1st, 2021. I ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none. The question before us is the question about the committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Okay, the committee report passes. To the bill, Representative Fields.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Basically, members, this was a sunset bill. It continues the activity of the Special Education Advisory Committee. I urge for an aye vote.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none. The question before us is the passage of House Bill 1171. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. House Bill 1171 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read House Bill 1177.
House Bill 1177, Representatives Buckner and Pedersen, also Senator Hill, concerning the continuation of the Council of Higher Education Representatives.
Representative Pedersen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1177 and the Education Committee report.
To the committee report.
The committee report was just to add a sunset, and I ask for your support.
Any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. The committee report passes. To the bill, Representative Pedersen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What this is one of the most effective committees that we have to review what students are able to identify for transferable credits across our universities here in Colorado. And so we're very supportive of it continuing.
And I concur.
Thank you. So is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1177. Oh, sorry, Representative Brown. I was looking down. Representative Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll have to get some pink on.
Please.
I just have a question. You know, we've got all of these boards and commissions, and why can't the Colorado Commission on Higher Education do this job? I mean, it seems to me like that's what they are supposed to do, and why do we have to have a special commission to do this? It seems like it's more money. Why do we need them?
Thank you, Representative Pedersen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is actually, this brings everybody together to identify across our universities, our state universities, to easily identify for students what credits are transferable. This is a very useful committee. I think that this has a very good value, and I ask for your support.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1177. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. House Bill 1177 passes. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1225 until Wednesday, March 23rd.
Thank you. So are there any objections? Seeing none, House Bill 1225 will be laid over. The motion passes. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. Motion passes. House 1225 will be laid over until Wednesday, the 23rd. Mr. Kohler, please read House Bill 1088.
House Bill 1088 by Representative Dorr concerning the authorization for Fire Protection District to impose an impact fee on new development in connection with enacting the Public Safety Fairness Act.
Thank you. Representative Dorr.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1088 and the committee report.
To the committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The committee report really is the bill now. It was a strike below at committee after hours and hours and hours of negotiations with the entities involved, which include fire districts, home builders, CML, CCI, apartment builders, and we could go on and on. But what we ended up doing was coming to an agreement which allowed the fire districts to partake in the process of making sure that they are part of the dialogue and ultimate conclusion when it comes to impact fees. Because of the way the legislation was written back in 2002, fire districts lived in a weird world where they could talk about impact fees, but they couldn't actually receive impact fees. And during that legislative debate, which was SB 15 out of 2002, legislators were asked whether 15 allowed the local governments to include the cost of equipment and such when it came to impact fees for like fire districts. And there was discussion, but there was never clarification on what it would do. And so one of the reasons around that was that the useful life of 5 years or longer became part of the discussion with the local governments and the debate around SB 15. In the end, SB 15, which was back in 2002, didn't allow the fire districts to receive fees necessarily when it came to a development coming in. And we in Colorado have always had the theory and the strategy of development pays its own way. But when it came to fire districts, they weren't. And so the fire districts came to me and said, is there a possibility here where we can be part of this discussion? And this is the result of that. So this requires the local governments, be it your county, your municipality, your metropolitan district, when they start having discussions with developers about what impact fees will be there with regards to the development coming into those communities, the fire districts are allowed to sit at the table and also, through the local government, talk about the issues that they may have. And you can foresee them. They're going to need new fire stations at some point. If you have 400 new houses come in, you need that. But they're also going to have impacts that are more immediate, because as the development goes on and they cut the gas line, they pick up the phone and call 911. The fire department shows up. Well, until there's some impact fees, the citizens around the areas that are paying into the mill levy for the fire districts, because remember, a fire district is different than a fire department. Fire district is its own government entity. A fire department is under the municipality or under the city. So the fire district has no way of recouping those costs. And so the taxpayers who are already paying into that pot through the mill levy are the ones then that would be burdened with additional payments and really not made whole. So anyhow, end of the day, that's what this becomes. And I had to read some of that because I had to get it off my chest.
Thank you, Representative Dorr. Is that your committee report?
Yes.
Thank you. So members, the question before us is the committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The committee report passes. To the bill, Representative Dorr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, the committee report was the bill. So with that, I would ask for a yes vote on 1088.
Perfect. Thank you, Representative Dorr. Is there any further discussion? Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I have a question for Representative Dorr. So it's my understanding that under current law, it is possible for a local government already to do this. And so if a local government wants to do this kind of fee, they can already do that fee and then pass it on through to the fire district. And that the problem is that some local governments are choosing not to do that and exercising what I believe is their obligation, and therefore it's necessitating the fire districts to actually do this on their own.
Representative Dorr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Rosenthal, one of the beauties of what this bill now is after the strike below is that the local government could, on behalf of the fire district, do this. In some cases, though, the fire district is doing it on its own with regards going directly to developers. All that can still happen. What this just says is for those counties and municipalities that are not doing it, is make sure you consult, and that's the language that we used, with your fire district to see what their needs are and have that become part of the conversation so that their needs are met. Because we know as citizens, as taxpayers out there, you don't want to have to pay for something, for a freeloader, if you will, that's receiving services but not, and getting the benefit from services but not doing anything to pay into the pot.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1088? Representative Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm sorry that I didn't get a chance to talk to Representative Dorr earlier. Just have a few questions. And I was concerned that the fire district could just do this on their own. And I think that the amendment is a lot better going through the local government. However, I still just want to ask what the public process is, and maybe you went through it and I didn't hear it, but does the public have the ability, are there public hearings, things like that, where the public can have a say into whether or not they are in favor of these impact fees? And I guess I'm just concerned about the taxpayer having some say in this and it not just be crammed down their throat.
Representative Dorr. Is there any further discussion? Representative Dorr.
Go for it.
Representative Thurlow.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just wanted to say we sat through this for actually 2 days in local government committee. The original bill had a lot of onerous things in it and things that we didn't like. I want to commend Representative Dorr for taking the bill back and getting agreement from all the stakeholders. At the end of the day, this bill was supported by Colorado counties, Colorado Municipal League, the fire chiefs, pretty much all of the stakeholders came to the conclusion that this was a good compromise. It doesn't mandate much, but it does give the fire districts a way to be at the table, and I think creates a good process, so I would ask for an aye vote on the bill.
Any further discussion on House Bill 1088? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1088. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. No. House Bill 1088 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title to House Bill 1296. Oh, Representative, Mr. Assistant Minority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1296 until Wednesday, March 23rd.
Thank you. Are there any objections? Seeing none, House Bill 1296 will be laid over. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The motion passes. House Bill 1296 will be laid over. Mr. Kohler, now please read the passage of House Bill 1298.
House Bill 1298, Representative Melton, also Senator Cook, concerning changes in permissible vehicle dimensions.
Thank you. Representative Melton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1298. There are no committee reports.
To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. House Bill 1298 is also a technical cleanup. The federal government recently passed what's called the FAST Act, which did some updates to transportation regarding height, weight, and size of vehicles. Okay. In order for us to remain in compliance with the federal government, 1298 will change Colorado statute to meet those new requirements regarding a vehicle's permitted height, weight, and length. With that, members, I would ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Representative Melton, is there any further discussion? Representative Neville.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And members, in case you're wondering why I was a no vote, the simple reason I was a no vote on this bill was because I believe that this is kind of more of that carrot and stick aspect from the federal government saying you must comply with these regulations in order to receive your money. I don't like that. I think that's highway coercion, and for that reason I was a no vote.
Thank you. Any further discussion on House Bill 1298? Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Representative Melton, maybe you might know this. Did CDOT come and tell you how many bridges in their system actually meet this new height requirement? Like, is there a percentage, half, 75%? I'm just wondering if we're going to have to do a lot more extra work out there now because we have a lot of bridges that might not meet this height requirement.
Representative Melton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Unfortunately, I was not informed as to whether or not there are bridges that don't meet this compliance. From what I understand, though, most roads do because some neighboring states have already passed legislation that meets this requirement. And as they're traveling through Colorado, we've already anticipated for that. One big thing, though, that this does is, as Representative Neville did describe, by not being in compliance, we do risk losing about $52 million of federal resources towards transportation and towards maintaining our roads and our bridges and our highways, so that way we can meet this issue in terms of the larger and heavier vehicles. And so, hope that kind of answers your question.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1298. All those in favor say aye. Anybody opposed? Thank you. So House Bill 1298 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title to House Bill 1160. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1160, one bill.
Thank you. Are there any objections? House Bill 1160 will be laid over as requested. Mr. Kohler, please read the title to House Bill 1006.
House Bill 1006, Representatives Becker, Kane, Garnett, concerning clarification of the exemption from government charges for property owned by or leased to a housing authority or entity that is wholly owned by an authority and entity which an authority has an ownership interest, or an entity in which an entity wholly owned by an authority has an ownership interest, applies to all taxes levied and all fees imposed by the state or any county, city, county, municipality, or other political subdivision of the state.
Thank you, Mr. Kohler. Representative Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's a pleasure to serve with you. Mr. Kohler, nice job. I move House Bill 1006, the Appropriations Committee report and the Finance Committee report.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure to work with you and to the Appropriations report. Representative Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, I would ask that you support the Appropriations Committee report, where we added a legislative declaration that this isn't actually taking away from funds that were forecasted that were actually received by the state of Colorado.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on the Appropriations report? Seeing none. The question before us is the passage of the Appropriations report. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The Appropriations report, Committee report passes. To the Finance reports. Representative Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, I would ask for an aye vote on the Finance Committee report. We just clarified the fact that the tax exemption for housing authorities, that it wasn't too broad.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on the Finance Committee report?
I thought it was a second reading. No, I thought this was to the bill. No, it's to the Finance report. Oh, you're right.
Representative Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Marilyn. Before we pass the Finance Committee report, I move L004, an amendment to the Finance Committee report.
Thank you. So the amendment is properly before us now. And so please proceed. Representative Becker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill, this amendment clarifies the impact on property tax to the passage of this bill. So a portion of a public housing project that is
that is not for housing will not be exempt from property tax, and that's what this amendment clarifies. And that's to avoid impacts to the School Finance Act.
So is there any further discussion on the amendment to the Finance Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the amendment L004. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The amendment passes. We are back to the committee report. Is there any further discussion on the Finance Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Finance Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The Finance Committee report passes. To the bill, Representative Becker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill, as amended with the strike below in the Finance Committee, clarifies that the longstanding practice of exempting public housing authorities from sales tax does continue. There was some confusion at the Department of Revenue about how to interpret the existing statute, so we ran a new bill to clarify public housing authorities who have always been exempted from sales tax will remain that way.
Thank you. Any further discussion on House Bill 1006? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1006. All those Representative, do you wish to discuss? Representative Wilson, please discuss.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You just moved right along there so quickly I about got lost in the dust. Colleagues, since I don't often end up being the only no vote on a bill, I thought I might come up and clarify why I did so. And the reason was that it was going to directly impact the school finance formula, and it has since been amended, and I am now in favor of this bill. So even though I was down on the list as being a no vote, I am now supporting the bill.
Thank you, Representative Wilson. Representative Tyler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just real quickly, I'm the legislative representative on the Colorado Housing and Finance Authority Board. And so I've been right in the middle of these tax credit financing deals for a while now. And I will tell you, this is a very important bill to get low-income housing built. It was a real shock when the Department of Revenue decided to reinterpret standing procedures and change the law that was passed in 2000. So vote yes on this bill. It will be real productive for housing.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1006? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1006. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. House Bill 1006 does pass. We are back to House Bill 1160. Mr. Kohler, please read the title.
House Bill 1160 by Representatives Janal and Montine, also Senator Tate, concerning the continuation of the surgical assistant and surgical technologist registration program.
Thank you. Representative McCann.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would move to refer this bill to the Committee on Appropriations. It appears that it needs to go there, so I would ask that it go to a Committee on Appropriations.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on this motion? Seeing none, members, the question before us is to refer House Bill 1160 back to Appropriations. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before I just said, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Okay, the motion to move House Bill 1160 back to Appropriations does pass. Mr. Kohler, please read the title to House Bill 1014.
House Bill 1014 by Representative Williams, also Senator Tate, concerning the creation of the Business Intelligence Center program within the Department of State.
Thank you. Representative Williams.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1014 and the House Business Affairs and Labor Report.
To the committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, what we did in the House Business Affairs and Labor Report is we wanted to make sure that state agencies are not required to participate in the Business Intelligence Center program, but they can opt in, and the program is totally voluntary. And I ask you for an aye vote.
Thank you. So, is there any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Business Affairs and Labor Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The committee report passes. To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, the Business Intelligence Center The purpose is to make relevant business public data accessible and usable for informed decision-making, for promote economic growth and good governance. The agencies that currently participate in this program are the Department of Agriculture, Higher Ed, Labor and Employment, Transportation, Local Affairs, Revenues, Department of State, the Energy Office, and the OIT Department. And I think this is a good bill for small businesses, and I ask you for an aye vote.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1014. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. House Bill 1014 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title to House Bill 1129. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1129 until tomorrow, March 22nd.
Thank you. Are there any objections? Seeing none, the bill is laid over as requested by the Majority Leader. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1173.
House Bill 1173, Representative Mitch Bush, also Senator Scott, concerning the continuation of the regulation of vessels by the Department of Natural Resources.
Representative Mitch Bush.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 161173. There is no committee report.
To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill is a sunset bill. This particular program registers boats in Colorado. The reason the word vessel is used is because there are a wide variety of watercraft that some may or may not consider to be boats, such as kayaks, etc. There have been no complaints about this bill, about this review process, which has previously been on a 10-year cycle. This is a critical program for outdoor recreation in our state. It not only registers boats, but it also provides safety instruction, safety in terms of enforcement in the case of boat theft, and it also provides for boat ramps and other critical boat facilities. The bill essentially deletes the sunset and continues the program indefinitely. Again, because this is such a critical program, has had 3 sunset reviews with no problems, and is also reliant on grants, which for predictability need relatively long periods of time.
Thank you. Representative Becker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And members, I think that this is a great bill and a good program. But one of the things that we would like to look at is make sure that these programs are looked at in a timely manner, to make sure that they're working for the state and not to catch the sponsor off guard or anything like that. With all due respect to Representative Mitch Bush, there was probably a misunderstanding as to what we wanted to do there. So I would move L002 and ask that it be displayed.
Thank you, Representative. The amendment is properly before us. Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, all this does is add the 10-year sunset back onto this program so that we can look at it in 10 years. Again, this was not to, I hope this is a friendly amendment with the sponsor. We thought that she was notified at the point that we were going to do this, so I do apologize, but this is adding back in the 10-year sunset.
Representative Mitch Bush.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Representative Becker. Yes, I am fine with this amendment. I do consider it to be a friendly amendment, and thank you very much.
Thank you. So is there any further discussion on L002? Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Representative Mitch Bush, for addressing this concern, because Representative Becker and I had expressed that concern. Really 3 reasons why I feel that it's important to have a sunset. 1, forever is a long, long time, and without that, it just goes on forever. Secondly, we would never know. I don't know about you all, but I hadn't looked into my boat registration to see what all was involved with that until this came up before us today in this session. So I think it's important that as elected officials, we see what these programs and so forth deal with, and even though there's never been a problem with it, and I agree with that, at least we are informed on it. And the third reason, of course, is How important is it elected officials know about these sorts of things? I know that Representative Buckner was in a meeting and I commented about a sunset. We wouldn't have known about it if it hadn't come up. And she commented about being a new legislator that it was really important for her to hear that discussion. So I would urge an aye vote on this amendment.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on L002? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Amendment L002. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Amendment L002 passes. To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Representative Mitch Bush.
This bill, again, continues a really critical program in our state. Boating is an extremely popular outdoor activity, and it also brings a lot of recreation money. This bill is strongly supported by all the related industries, and although I wish it weren't sunsetted, I think the 10-year is a good compromise. So with that, I would ask for a yes vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Representative Becker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I ask for an aye vote on House Bill 1173. As a community with a lot of boating, this helps keep all of our water safe and is supported by the many groups who do boating. So I ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Representative Ransom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And while I love to boat too, I love the reservoirs down in my district, and boating is great. I just have a question for the sponsor. I noticed that there was an additional FTE and on the fiscal note, and I was just wondering if the program's growing, if that's why, or if you know it's coming up in a couple in 2017 and 18. If you can just address that.
Representative Mitch Bush.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Representative Rankin. Sorry. Representative Ransom, I do apologize. Thank you. Actually, if you look at the Canary sheet from appropriations, it's a little clearer. It's simply a continuation of 1.1 FTE. It is not a new FTE.
Representative Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And one of the things I asked in committee was about checking for these mussels that are getting into our, it's not that kind of mussel, but it's these little animals that will ruin our waterways if we are not very careful. In some other states, they have come into the state, and you know, I'm not for a lot of regulation, but this is one place where we really need to be careful that we don't contaminate our waterways, and so I would ask you to vote in favor of this bill.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1173? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1173. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. House Bill 1173 does pass. Mr. Kohler, please read the title for House Bill 1266.
House Bill 1266 by Representative Becker Kay, also Senator Cook, concerning the Department of Revenue's authority over marijuana that contains chemical contaminants.
Thank you. Representative Becker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1266, the Appropriations Committee report and the Finance Committee report.
And the bill. And,
I did.
and to the Appropriations Committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the Appropriations Committee, they added a language to add $23,000 in appropriations, and I ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on the Appropriations report? Seeing none, the question before us is the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The Appropriations Committee report passes. To the Finance Committee report, Representative Becker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the Finance Committee, we passed an amendment to the bill that clarifies the appeal process that entities may have before Department of Revenue exercises this authority. And I ask for an aye vote, although I'd like to recess 1 minute because I have an amendment, and I'm not sure if it's to the Finance Committee report or to the bill.
Okay.
A brief, can I grab the amendment?
Yes, so we will pause for just a moment. Representative Becker, you have an amendment?
No, so I move the House, the Finance Committee report.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on the Finance Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Finance Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The Finance Committee report passes. Representative Becker.
I'm
To the
sorry,
bill.
I was just handed the wrong amendment.
Okay. So in just a moment to the bill.
That's okay. I ask for an aye vote on House Bill 1266.
Thank you. So the question, is there any further discussion on House Bill 1266? Representative Conti.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, I heard this bill in Finance Committee, and one of the things that impacted me to be a yes vote on it was the fact that there are over 250 pesticides that can be used that are deemed safe. So I think that there's more than enough safe pesticides that can be out there for our growers. There's really no reason why they need to not comply. And the other complication was that in agriculture, traditional agricultural settings, that any crop that had illegal pesticides used on it could still be used for animal feed. Obviously, that's not the case with marijuana, so we really didn't have a choice except for destruction. So I ask for a yes vote.
Thank you, Representative Conti. Representative Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank Representative Becker for bringing this forward and for working in committee to build in an appeals process. It was one thing that we talked at length about, and we ran an amendment in committee to build in an appeals process so that if a business owner disagreed, that they could go through it and make sure that their property wasn't being seized without warrant. So thank you, Representative Becker, for making that change and for running this bill, and I urge members to support it.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1266? Representative Becker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to urge an aye vote on House Bill 1266. Colorado, because marijuana is still illegal federally, Colorado has to come up with some of its own systems for how to implement some of the rules. One of those rules is what to do in the situation when marijuana growers are using pesticides illegally. And this is one of the laws that will allow Department of Revenue to do if it were legal federally, the FDA would do, but that's to seize the plants that test hot for pesticides. So with that, I ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Any further discussion on House Bill 1266? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1266. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. House Bill 1266 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title for House Bill 1350.
House Bill 1350, Representative Young, also Senator Grantham, concerning the Department of Higher Education's authority to make transfers relating to governing boards' fee-for-service contracts for specialty education.
Thank you. Representative Young.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1350. There are no committee reports.
To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. House Bill 1413-19, the College and University Performance Funding Bill that we passed a couple of years ago, made significant changes to the method for allocating state funding among state higher education institutions. And this included a provision that expanded the Department of Higher Ed's authority to make end-of-year transfers between amounts appropriated for student stipends and amounts appropriated for the same governing board for fee-for-service contracts. Turns out that we left out one section in that bill, and that was around specialty education programs. And so this is a JBC bill, really a technical cleanup bill on that issue that allows for those transfers as well. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1350? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1350. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. House Bill 1350 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title to House Bill 1352.
House Bill 1352, Representative Hamner, also Senator Grantham, concerning the appropriation of monies from the State Museum cash fund for the benefit of facilities owned and operated by the State Historical Society in connection with making appropriation.
Representative Hamner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1352.
Thank you. Please proceed, Representative Hamner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Colleagues, this is a joint budget committee bill. We currently have a state museum cash fund, and the bill amends the language for the potential uses of the cash fund to support other projects of the State Historical Society. It also specifies that $3 million stays in the fund to earned interest, and I ask for your support of House Bill 1352.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1352? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1352. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. House Bill 1352 passes. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over the balance of the calendar until tomorrow, March 22nd.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, the balance of the calendar will be laid over.
Objection.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
You have heard the motion. Seeing no objection, the committee will rise and report.
The House will come back to order. Mr. Kohler, please read the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Madam Speaker, Committee of the Whole begs the report is under consideration. The following attached bills being second reading, the government makes the following recommendations thereon. House Bills 1006 amended, 1014 amended, 1088 amended, 1171 amended, 1173 amended, 1177 amended, 1228 amended, 1258, 1266 amended, 1298, 1316, 1315, 1352 passed on second reading in order gross place on counter for third and final passage. Senate Bills 51 and 68 passed on second reading in order revised place on counter for third and final passage. House Bill 1129 laid over until March 22nd, retaining its place on the calendar. House Bills 1225 and 1296 laid over until March 23rd, retaining its place on the calendar. House Bill 1164 laid over until April 25th, retaining its place on the calendar. House Bill 1160 referred to the Committee on Appropriations.
Representative Kraft Tharp. You have heard the motion, and there are no amendments. The question before the House is the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Kohler, please open the machine, and members proceed to vote. Representatives Del Grosso, Lundeen, Moreno, Williams.
Marilyn, do we have those? I'm going to do them now.
Close the machine. With 61 ayes, 63 ayes, no noes, and 2 excused, the report of the Committee of the Whole is adopted. Message from the Senate.
Madam Speaker, the Senate has adopted and transmits herewith Senate Joint Resolutions 21 and 22.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to suspend the rules for the immediate consideration of SJR 21 and SJR 22.
The motion is to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of SJR 21 and SJR 22. See no objection, so ordered. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of SJR 21.
Senate Joint Resolution 21 by Senator Grantham, also Representative Williams, concerning recognition of Single Parents Day.
Representative Williams.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move SJR 16021 and ask for it to be read at length.
Whereas parents must invest immeasurable amounts of time, energy, and devotion when raising their children in order to provide them with the love, support, and guidance required to become responsible, productive, and successful adults. And whereas the responsibility of raising children in today's society is particularly difficult when it falls on the shoulders of a single parent. And whereas the number of single-parent families has more than tripled in the past 25 years. And whereas more than 25 million children in this country currently live in single-parent homes. And whereas the greatest need of every child is to be loved, whether the child lives in a single-parent or two-parent family. And whereas the dedication and achievement of single parents deserve our recognition. And whereas in 1984, Congress passed House Joint Resolution 200, which designated March 21st, 1984 as National Single Parent Day, and President Reagan issued Proclamation 5166, which proclaimed March 21st, 1984 National Single Parent Day. Since then, many states and organizations across the country recognize March 21st each year as Single Parents Day. And whereas in 1993, Colorado became the first state to sign a proclamation officially recognizing March 21st as Single Parents Day. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate of the 70th General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the House of Representatives concurring herein, that we, the members of the Colorado General Assembly, designate March 21st, 2016 as Single Parents Day in Colorado in recognition of the dedication and achievements of all single parents.
Representative Williams.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, each year we recognize this day as Single Parents Day. There are over 24 million children in this United States that live in single-parent homes. I was a single parent when my son turned 7 years old through a divorce, and I think that single parents have a place in our communities, they have a place in our state, and they work very hard to raise their children to have the same, at least, home lifestyle that they can as much for their kids. And I think it's just very important that we recognize Single Parents Day. And it's not always women that are single parents. I mean, in today's society, we have a lot of men who are single parents, and they're doing a great job at raising their children also. And so I would ask for your support on SJR 1621.
Representative Melton.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and members, I rise in strong support of SJR 16021. I've spoke about my mom plenty of times here on the floor, but she was a single parent, and yes, you can blame all of me because of her. Especially, it's funny that this is on my birthday because you know, I really do appreciate all the work that she did, having to work, you know, sometimes 2-3 jobs, come home and then deal with myself and my hard-headedness, and it's not easy. It's not easy not having that supportive extra person there, but being the mom and the dad and the disciplinarian and the teacher and the comforter and, you know, so many different hats. And so to all the single parents out there, I definitely want to rise and recognize you for all the hard work that you do and let you know that we do care and we do appreciate the hard work that you do in your kids' lives.
Representative Mitch Bush.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I, too, rise in very strong support of SJR 16021 and very much thank the sponsor. Of course, I want to give a shout out to all the single parents everywhere in our state because it is a hard row to hoe. It is much more difficult to be a single parent. I also want to give a shout out up in heaven to my mother, who was a single parent and who was my hero. My father and she were divorced in 1953 when I was 3. There was no term like single parent. She was called a divorcee. And she really worked her fingers to the bone to support me, to start a college fund for me of her own. There were no state college funds at that time. She made sure, even after she'd worked all day long, that I got read to every night, that on the weekends we went to museums, that she always helped me with my homework. And I know that the single parents that I know in my district do exactly the same thing for all their kids. They work hard, they make sure their children have the very best. So here's to single parents.
Representative Duran, Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, I just want to thank Representative Williams for bringing this resolution every year. I've never spoke on this before, but I did want to talk on it today because when I think about this resolution and I think about single women and single men throughout the state of Colorado, it hits very close home for me, and that's because my sister is a single mother and she has a little boy that's 14 years old, Sean, that she got pregnant with when she was 19, and another little boy, Roman, who's 5 years old. And so on the weekends, a lot of times you'll see me spending time with them, bringing them to the Capitol and trying to support her to the best of my ability because I know how difficult it has been for her for many years to be able to be a single mom, continue to get her education, and essentially becoming and ultimately becoming an assistant principal at Adams County High School. And so I appreciate the single moms throughout this state and throughout this country, and the single dads throughout this state and throughout this country that make it work for their family and that dedicate time and effort to make sure that their kids are successful. Thank you.
Representative Rosenthal. Representative Von Teen. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of SJR 21. Is there objection to taking a voice vote? Seeing none, all those in favor of SJR 21, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. That motion is adopted. Representative Williams.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the current roll call of the House be added as co-sponsors to SJR 1621.
The motion is that the current roll call be added as co-sponsors to SJR 21. Is there objection? Seeing none, so ordered. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of SJR 22.
Senate Joint Resolution 22 by Senators Baumgardner and Todd, also Representatives Rosenthal and Nordberg, concerning the designation of March 21st, 2016 as Colorado Aerospace Day.
Representative Norberg and whoever else is standing at the well. Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Oh, this is unwieldy. There we go. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move Senate Joint Resolution 16-22, and since it is 6 pages long, I ask that it not be read at length.
Thank you. Please proceed, Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We are absolutely delighted to do our annual aerospace resolution and aerospace day here at the state capitol. As I said, the resolution is 6 pages long, which means it is extraordinary, the numbers of things and the types of things that the folks in Colorado are doing, companies, nonprofits, individuals, universities, research labs, everybody coming together to make it an amazing industry. Colorado has improved our ranking this year in aerospace employment. We not only retained our #1 ranking in private sector aerospace employment per capita nationwide, we also improved our total numbers, moving up from #3 to #2 overall. We overtook Florida to claim the #2 spot, although some people say Florida. Though we still have to go after California, which is #1 for now. So a few more numbers. 162,000 Coloradans work in the aerospace industry, bringing a total payroll to the state exceeding $3.2 billion. We are proud to be home to large companies like Ball, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, United Launch Alliance, but over half of the more than 500 aerospace companies in Colorado are small businesses. Colorado is a great aerospace ecosystem with such a great synergy of large and small companies, top-notch universities, and space-related military installations. So members, you probably saw on your desks these nifty rockets provided by ULA, United Launch Alliance. They're actually the Vulcan, the new Vulcan model that's coming up, the next generation. So Vulcan, so live long and prosper. And so you can see that they're being innovative at United Launch Alliance. And also members, ULA is launching the biggest payload ever of aerospace materials to go up to the space station on the Atlas V. Launching at 9 p.m. Mountain Time, so you can watch at ULAlaunch.com. So some really exciting things happening literally today and tomorrow in aerospace in Colorado.
Representative Norberg.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and it's an honor to sponsor Senate Joint Resolution 22 and to honor our aerospace industry today. If you look at some of the projects that have been done here in Colorado, you look at GPS-3, the Mars Curiosity rover, Orion, the Dream Chaser, Maven, and many more. That's just a few. Colorado's at the forefront of aerospace technology and innovation, and it's something that we need to continue to foster here as a state. We thank you for the collaboration with our higher institutes of higher education as well as our military installations. I look forward to continuing to support you as a state. Thank you so much for being here.
Is there further discussion on SJR 22? Representative Ryden.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just want to make a quick shout out to Buckley Air Force Base and the role that they play in our aerospace industry, and to all the fabulous companies that are in Aurora and working with Buckley on projects that they have going on. And just want to say how much Aurora supports our aerospace industry. Thank you.
Representative Rankin.
I just want to personally thank the aerospace industry, without which I would not be a Coloradan. I was a young aerospace engineer in California in the early 80s, and my boss came to me and said, hey, there's this place called Colorado Springs that's really starting to boom in the aerospace business. We'd like for you to go out there and get involved. And so I have been a Coloradan since the early 80s, thanks to the aerospace industry. You might not think that's as exciting a product as others, but I always like to come down here on Aerospace Day and thank you for my 30-year career.
Is there further discussion on SJR 22? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of SJR 22. Is there objection to taking a voice vote? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say no. SJR 22 is adopted. Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I ask that the current roll call be added as co-sponsors.
The motion is that the current roll call be added as co-sponsors. Is there any objection? Seeing none, so ordered. Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I do have some guests to introduce.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So we have quite a lot of luminaries in the aerospace field in Colorado present with us today. So if you don't mind standing as I say your name, we have Tom Bugnitz from Manufacturer's Edge, Heidi Hustetter from Faustin Tool Corporation, Clancy Yao, Custom Microwave, Kaylee Pinaver, CU Boulder, astronaut who's in the astronaut suit, minus the helmet, since I have it. Chris Chavez, United Launch Alliance, which is America's Ride to Space. Barry Hamilton, Red Canyon Software. Tom Deeney, Ball Aerospace. Christy Lee, Lockheed Martin Space Systems. Jesse McCarthy, Harris Corporation.
Representative Norberg.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We also have the leadership of the Colorado Space Business Roundtable. We have Frank Backus, the chair of the roundtable. We have Stacy DeFore, past Colorado Space Business Roundtable chair and current chair of Citizens for Space Exploration. And we also have Vicki Lee, the aerospace and aviation manager for the Colorado Space Coalition, and Major General retired Jay Lindell with the Office of Economic Development and International Trade, and Colorado's defense industry and aerospace champion. Please applaud.
And we apparently have some others as well. I'm sorry, your name is not on the sheet, but please stand and we'll greet you and thank you for your work.
Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just a couple announcements that are tied to this Aerospace Day. So first of all, everyone is invited downstairs to the first floor. There's an amazing array of over 40 booths and exhibits from, as we mentioned earlier, companies and nonprofits and individuals and universities who are all here to speak with you members and your staffs and anybody who wants to join us. So you're all welcome to go throughout the day. Also, there's a lunch for those of you who are hungry from 11:30 to 1:30 at the West Foyer as well. There will also be a group photo for anybody who would like to be in that. And if you want to wear this nifty helmet, I'm sure they'll allow for that. That's at 1:30 in the Rotunda. There will also be a discussion today featuring Lieutenant Governor Garcia and legislators about 2 p.m. Old Supreme Court Chamber, and a reception from 4 to 6 p.m. at Katie Mullins on 16th Street Mall. So you're all welcome to join us at that event as well. As you can see, it's a full day of wonderful activities, all due to the Aerospace Day, which is such a wonderful time here at the Capitol. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Norberg.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. There is also one distinguished guest that we forgot to mention, former State Representative Joe Rice, who is also Director of Government Affairs for Lockheed Martin. Joe, stand up.
Welcome, Representative Rice. Are we ready for consideration of Senate amendments to House bills? Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to lay over consideration of Senate amendments to House bills until tomorrow, March 22nd.
You've heard the motion. Seeing no objection, so ordered. We are to announcements and introductions. Are there announcements and introductions? Representative Vigil.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members of the Agriculture, Livestock, and Natural Resources Committee, we've got 2 bills today. 1313 will be heard last, and 1339 will be heard first. So we'll see you at 1:30. I'd like to start on time. Thank you.
Representative Janal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just want to welcome a group from Fort Collins from Tavelli Elementary School. They're a group of 25 fourth graders, and I think they're right up there waving to you all. Let's give them a big hand.
Representative Patterson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. House Education Committee members, we are going to be moving 1365 to next Monday, the 3rd bill up. Thank you very much.
Representative Pabon. Mr. Speaker Pro Tem.
Madam Speaker, I ask for a moment of personal privilege to address this body.
Personal privilege granted.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, colleagues, I would like to make a short statement about the mistakes I made last Thursday night that led to my arrest and being charged with driving under the influence and improper registration. I plan on wholeheartedly accepting the penalties that come from my actions. As a legislator, I've worked to contain the damage that poor decisions, like the ones I made last week, have on our communities. It's not lost on me that I have worked to pass laws with stiffer penalties for driving under the influence. There's a law right now on the governor's desk that will empower prosecutors and judges to use victim impact panels to bring those, now like me, who choose to drink and drive face to face with real life victims of those bad choices. Today, needless to say, I believe in this legislation more than I did 5 days ago. I will never repeat this mistake, and I sincerely and truly apologize to my wife and kids, my family. And my colleagues, and our community. I will work tirelessly to restore your confidence in me. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Are there further announcements and introductions? Seeing none, Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to lay over the balance of the calendar until tomorrow, March 20. I move to stand in recess until later today at 1:30 p.m.
The motion is to stand in recess until later today at 1:30 p.m. Seeing no objection, so ordered.